very much for coming to this. I think that it'll be very beneficial for us as artists to learn more about how to market our work. And so, and before we start, I would, just a few things that are coming up I would like to share with you. The Covey Center is putting on a showcase. This is their second annual showcase, and they have just art from people around here. And they chose my stained glass to put on the front, so of course I had to show you. Also, the Freedom Festival is coming up, and that is the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of July. And the reason that I tell you this is for a couple of things are happening before that. June 1st is the Star Spangled Baby contest, and that just sounds like that'd be fun. But there are parades and all kinds of things. The Freedom Festival magazine will be coming out soon. It's just going to print tomorrow, so you'll be getting that in the mail and get all the information. We, as the Utah County Art Board, have a children's art show going along with the Freedom Festival. So if any of your children or grandchildren would like to participate in that, just go to our website at utahcountygallery.com and download a entry form. Yes?
Is it Utah County Art Gallery.com?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, utahcountyartgallery.com. Thank you.
No.
And also, there's a summer band series. Every Sunday evening in June, they have is it Pioneer Park? 500 North, 500 West, that park. And so the Premier Brass plays every Sunday night, so it's just kind of a fun activity for the family. So just wanted to keep you updated, and of course every first Friday there's the gallery stroll, and we're a part of that. In June we will not have a new artist at the Health and Justice Building. We'll continue with the Fine Arts Show, so everyone will have a chance to bring their friends in to see art that the juried art that is there at this time.
And there will be artists doing demonstrations?
Yes, yes. So we won't have new artists there, but we will have artists with their easels up and doing demonstrations. All right, we are ready to get started tonight. I am very excited. Frank Baker is going to teach us how to do our marketing for our art, and I've been looking forward to having a workshop like this for a long time. And so we'll just maybe, if, he says he has so much to tell us, if we don't learn it all tonight, we'll have him come back another time. So, and I will, Frank, I will have you introduce your friend, artist, if you don't mind, and so we'll just turn the time over to you. Thank you.
Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming out on this Wednesday. I almost said Tuesday, that's how far behind I am. On this Wednesday. So let me introduce myself, and I'll introduce Elizabeth a little bit. My name's Frank Baker. I have been in the marketing industry for, I guess, 13 years now. And I started in online marketing straight out of college. I needed a job, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I signed on with an internet marketing firm called aha.com and started in sales. It was my senior year of college, and it just really fit for me. And so I've been doing that for the past 14 years, 13, 14 years. I've worked for a lot of internet marketing companies, some of the big ones SEO.com. I've worked for a lot of traditional marketing firms as well, building out different arms of their marketing strategies and those types of things. And I've always been creative and always been an artist at heart. And so being able to mesh those two and be able to talk to you guys a little bit about how to integrate some of the strategies traditional marketing strategies that are out there, the new age marketing strategies with what the internet has to offer, and some of the things that on a traditional marketing and a traditional artist can talk about. Elizabeth Mitchell is going to be talking first, and she is the marketing director, art director for Santiago Mitchell Fine Arts. and she handles all of his marketing. He's a fairly successful artist from this area. He does really well for himself and his family, and he solely supports himself on his art. And she has a few things she wants to share that really made the difference between them not being able to support themselves with his art and being able to be successful with that. So I'm going to turn the time over to her initially, and then I'll step back in. The way I like to do these types of things is if you guys have a question at any time, raise your hand or blurt out a question, and I will try and answer it as we move along. And I'll turn the time over to Elizabeth.
All right.
He makes me sound all official, but really I'm an artist's wife. So when he asked me my title, I was like, I don't know, make something up. So art director, yes. It's Mitchell. I'll spell it for you. It's Michalek. So my husband is Santiago, and his website is santiagomichalek.com. And so what I want to do is just kind of tell you our story briefly, where we come from, where we are now. We've had a lot of success in a very short amount of time, and we have a lot to learn and a lot of areas in our business that we haven't tapped into or explored yet. So it's not like we're experts, but we figured a couple of things out that have been working for us. And we've gone through a lot of discouraging times and years, and if there's anything that I hope, it's that I could be a voice of encouragement for anyone that really is serious about pursuing their art. I am a very left-brain, logical, not artistically inclined person, and so I really admire those that are so talented, no matter what medium it is. So we've been married about 12 years, and when my husband and I were dating, he was obviously very talented. He was doing at the time just pencil portraits, and he'd draw a picture for his mom or whatever, but his talent was obvious. And so when we got married, it was kind of okay, we have no idea what we're doing, but he wanted to be an artist, and neither one of us knew what that meant. And so I thankfully had a good education and was career-minded and jumped into the working world and was supporting us until 6 months ago. And so I was always working, and we tried different things and struggled through trying to figure out how to make everything work. So I always felt like pursuing a career in art is kind of like saying, oh, I'm going to go to Nashville and become a famous country singer, right? Like kind of that abstract. And also like people's reactions, even now, oh, your husband's an artist. It's like, well, yes, he's a professional artist. And so there's just, I think, a perception about it that can be negative, and that I have felt, from people outside, to where, I don't know, it's not quite like hopping on a bus with the last $100 that you have and hoping that you can make it work. So the things that we've tried, my husband did go to the art school that was here in Provo, to the Bridge Academy, and where he was able to learn a lot, refine his talent, but also meet a lot of good people. And that was definitely a first step, is having the right connections. And through one of his teachers, he was introduced to a gallery owner who saw Santiago's work and loved it and asked us to show in the gallery. And that was the first step, and we thought, oh my, do we have it made? What does this mean? And then his work sat at the gallery, and 6 months later we hadn't sold anything, and so we thought, is this what it means to be in a gallery? Like, okay, we're in a gallery, but we weren't seeing the results. And he had a few small local shows that he would team up with other artists. I don't even know if he sold any pieces at the shows, or I can't even remember. but it wasn't obviously a very like big success, like the thing that was gonna make the difference for us. So a year and a half ago, out of desperation, my husband got a job working for JetBlue part-time because we were kind of at our last straw, like, okay, this is not working. You have to get a traditional job. It has benefits. It has a consistent income, and that's the point we're at. So that was a year and a half ago. And through a friend, we found out about a show in Arizona, and it's a show that runs for 3 months. And our friend, who's an artist, had done it and had been very successful. And I thought, well, that's great for our friend that's single and doesn't have kids, but what does that mean for you to like pack up and leave our family for 3 months to go and do an art show? So I encouraged him, whether that was a moment of insanity or not, to just apply and see if he got into the show, because it's very competitive and very hard to get into. So I thought maybe just the fact that he won't get in will be our answer. But he did get in, and that's the point where we really had to decide what we're willing to sacrifice. And also it was kind of like our last, okay, if this doesn't work, maybe you're a hobby artist and we'll move on. So when he left, I had a 6-month-old very colicky baby, and I was still working full time, and not yet to a point where I could leave my job. And so he left, and we packed him up and moved him to Arizona and did our first big show, a show where he was at his booth. He built his booth, his walls, he hung his pieces, he was there every day selling his work, and he got amazing connections, and the show is very well done and very well marketed, and it brings in over 50,000 people over the course of 3 months. And so we had enough success that we thought, okay, this is something that works. And in the meantime, the gallery kind of started to pick up, and while we were there, another artist said to us, so what summer shows are you doing? And we're like, summer shows? What are summer shows? We had no idea. And you can see, I mean, all along the way with our story, just like somebody introducing us to the right person, or someone suggesting something or mentioning a show. So we found out about summer shows at this show that's January through March. It's in the winter time in Arizona, so you get a lot of snowbirds. And we decided to apply to some summer shows. And what happened after about 6 months from the time he left Arizona, we were out of debt. We were to a point where I knew I'd be able to quit my job. And so I started, interviewing and looking to hire my replacement with the company that I was with, and still kind of holding off just out of my own fear, but knowing that it was going to happen, that it was only a matter of time at that point. So 9 months later, in September, I was able to leave my full-time position. And so our whole world, where I went from, I'm an artist wife, I'm always going to have to work, and I'm glad that I'm capable and I can do that, to leaving my job, and which supported us sometimes all on its own, and a lot of times. So that's what brought us to where he's a full-time artist, and he kind of established his own niche. While he loves to paint things that are figurative, he's done a few landscapes, he paints vintage transportation, and so he loves everything that's like old, rusty. He, before doing the artwork, actually spent many years restoring VW bugs and buses, so he knows those vehicles inside and out. He thought, well, I'm working on them, I can also paint them, and that kind of expanded into trains and tractors and boats. He just started doing, and so he kind of has his own area that's not especially saturated with a lot of artists. So a few things that we didn't know that I wish we had known, and like I said, we still have a lot to learn, but I think the biggest thing was how much of his career and our income potential was within our control. we spent, 10 years just kind of waiting around, hoping to meet the right person, getting in a gallery, but not really knowing what that meant, or when we got in, it was like, well, things weren't like flying off the shelves. And the other part was just where I was able to help my husband with my experience in the working world to develop our business plan, where he has a show for 3 months, and so we have income there, kind of balancing the highs and lows of the profession to where it's something consistent, even with all the inconsistencies. And so we base our business plan off of a couple of things. First is just the money that we need and the time of the year when we need that. And then also just his ability, how fast he's able to paint, or for anyone else here, how much work you're able to produce. That will definitely determine kind of how you outline your business plan. So I have it broken down for us by, we have our shows that we do on our own. And with that, we use Zapplication has most of the shows listed. If you're not familiar with that website, it's a really great resource because it's and it's Zapplication, Zapplication. You can see shows all over the United States. The dates, the details to apply, you can submit right through their website, pictures of your work, pictures of what your studio looks like, or your booth for a summer show, or they're year-round, but I keep calling them summer shows. So if you want to tap into the show market where you decide, I want to go to this show in this location, and you can apply, and they're juried. Some of them are easier to get into than others, just depending, but we've been able to participate in shows like in Colorado and a few in California, and we haven't ventured much from there, but people travel all over. And the thing that I love about that is that we decide and we can control it. And when you go, and Frank will talk more kind of about having your body of work, I believe, but when you go and you have the presence and you have the right people coming to the shows when they're events that are marketed well and have a following, and people know every year that there's this show, then you're able to, okay, I have this show this weekend, so I'll have income this weekend, and so forth. And so back to what we base our business plan on. We do our shows, we work with 2 galleries at this point. My husband is able to paint fast, but only so fast. Probably the most that we'd ever work with is 3 different galleries. And the shows have been a really great way to open the door because to galleries, because gallery owners go to shows to see who up-and-coming artists are, or who artists are that they want to have in their gallery. So by doing these shows, we have galleries approach us quite often to want to come and show in their gallery. Like I said, at this point we're still only in 2 galleries just because that's what we can manage, but maybe in the future we do as many as 3. So we do our shows, we have our galleries, and then we do our own marketing efforts as well by having the online presence with a website and Facebook. How many of you here have your own art website? Okay, that's great. I think that's an awesome place to start, and that's all we had for a lot of years, and we've expanded a little bit from there. I mean, when you have a chance to check out his website, it's not anything amazing. It's just having the presence, and there's always things that I'm upgrading and wanting to do and change. So we haven't, okay, to wrap up that thought, sorry I keep going off on these little tangents, but for us to manage the ups and downs with our 3 main areas, the galleries, the shows, and then our own marketing, where people contact us directly wanting pieces and work with us. That's how we've been able to finally take that plunge, which is so exciting, and to have the success that we've had. So a few resources that I want to tell you about, because I don't have a lot of experience, and I'm not like a marketing mastermind like Frank, but I'm good at copying what other people do, and I can implement what I see someone else has done that's been successful. And there's so many free online resources for education, to educate yourself about what to do. And I just want to give you a few of my favorite that you can check out. But if you link yourself with these websites or these people, you'll find out about more and more. It's just, there's so many things that you have to, at the same time, like you want to educate yourself, but focus on a few areas to start with, because you can always do 20 different things, but maybe none of them very well. So I try to focus on Facebook, and my favorite Facebook guru, her name is Amy, A-M-Y Porterfield, and she is always doing webinars and online trainings and has free downloads, and she just is a really great presenter, very simple, tells you what to do, realizes you're working with a budget, and I've never paid for any of her trainings, even though she does do a lot of the paid trainings, and I have learned the most from her. So that's a great one. Social Media Examiner. If you sign up for their emails, this has been great for me to learn about areas that I don't know about. They'll send once a day an email about different topics. It's Social Media Examiner. And some days it's not something I'm interested in. I'm not really marketing our art through LinkedIn, but it's like taking a look at all of social media for you and narrowing it down. So if you have 5 minutes to read their little article, if it's a topic that you like or that you want to learn more about, that's a great resource. I also, we use and are just implementing the use of Salesforce to manage our client base. But whether it's Salesforce or another CRM to manage clients, and in conjunction with that, we use iContact to manage our email list.
What?
iContact. It's just like lowercase I, contact, all one word. And they help you manage your email list, and then you can send out mass emails to people who subscribe. That's kind of the basic of it. And they make it easy, like you can format an email that looks like maybe your website or has images, and it formats and sends it out.
There's other email, and I'll talk about some of these.
Yeah.
But there's like MailChimp has a free service. Same type of thing is called MailChimp. And I'll talk about that.
Okay, so, but overall, it's having a way to manage your contacts and emails that you get.
And what does Salesforce do for you?
Oh,
Salesforce,
Same
I'm
exact
sorry. It's CRM is a customer
CRM.
Management or
relationship manager.
yeah.
So it's like you put in your contact, you can schedule reminders. Oh, I need to follow up with this person in a month. They were interested in something, but they're traveling, or so it's just a way to manage. I have up until this point tried to manage it in a spreadsheet in Excel, but it's just gotten too much and too crazy to where I can't put it in a spreadsheet and keep track of it anymore. And so whatever, and I know there are free CRMs as well, but yeah, having a CRM and having a way to manage your emails, and Frank will go over that more. And then kind of a side note, oh, I'm sorry, what was your question?
I just wondered, is there a difference between Salesforce and iContact?
Yes.
So what is Salesforce for?
Salesforce is like your phone directory. It's like, has their numbers, their information, what pieces they bought from you, or any notes on your communication.
It's your book of business.
Book of business, thank you.
It's how you organize all the people that you come in contact with, all the people that have bought pieces from you, or however that looks, or they handed you a card and said, hey, I'm interested, I love your work, I'm not ready to buy right now, but you manage that person, you know that they're there.
Is that Salesforce or Salesforce?
Sales. Like,
Sales.
S-A-L-E.
there's a free one called Sugar CRM. It's the same thing, but it's free software. It's an open source software that you can use, and it's completely free. It's the same concept. There's other ones out there like Basecamp as well is another way that you can manage, which is a free one. They have a free service. Those are the three that I would use.
And then kind of as a side note, but I would highly recommend having a way to manage your finances. I, up until this year, have used Mint, and it's a free website. And my accountant wasn't very happy that I used Mint at the end of the year, but he had his numbers and they were accurate. So we've upgraded to QuickBooks now, but Mint is a great resource to track all your expenses. And part of Experience's success is managing all the tax write-offs as well, which were substantial. So that's just kind of a side note. But overall, I just hope that if you're thinking about wanting to kind of take things to the next level, and if you have any questions, of course, you can ask them to me now or after, but to take the plunge and to do it. And for someone like me who's not artistic, and like I said, I'm kind of left brain logical, I don't think that way, it was a little bit of a stretch, but I'm so happy that we did the thing that was like not traditional, and that my husband didn't succumb to sitting at a desk job and working just so that we could pay our bills but not being really happy. And if I feel so strongly, if you have the talent and you're willing to put in the work and make sacrifices, we made some big sacrifices, but we were able to experience enough success that it made it worth it, and that I feel like anyone who's willing to put in the work can certainly have that kind of success too.